Hello, and welcome back to another It's Bringer video. And today we're finally doing the much awaited and frequently requested Build 42 negative rates tier list. I ain't gonna waste your time. I hope you appreciate the video. Like and subscribe if you do. Say hi to Pico, that's my bunny. Let's go. And what better place to start the tier list than with high thirst? Probably the single-handedly the #1 trait that got nerfed the hardest from Build 41. Back in Build 41, you probably could just get away with 2 water bottles. Like even in my Build 41 tier list, I did kind of hate on high thirst a little bit, but now I'm saying it's actually one of the worst traits in the game. Hands down, one of the worst. But it's not as bad as a couple of them we're going to get into soon. I don't think I need to explain this. You're going to need like 4 liters of water a day or something. It's absolutely ridiculous how much water your character needs now in Build 42. And that brings us to another trait. That is a never have. That's also a +1. Sunday Driver, which I must say is still one of the worst traits in the entire game. It will get you killed, and especially with the current issue with towing in Build 42.13, it's even worse. Don't take it. Trust me. All thumbs. I'm going to put never. I'm going to put never. You know my state on this. I don't like wasting my IRL time doing stuff in a game that is not fun, right? And actually, this is worse in Build 42 because you actually need to carry around a lot more heavy stuff. Gasoline is much heavier, right? Liquids are much heavier. And all the stone, large stone stuff, that's 40 encumbrance, right? A lot of things have been changed. Encumbrance has been changed. It's really easy to get overweight in Build 42, which means you're going to spend more and more time transferring inventory. So this is a pretty bad negative trait. There's another downside that is new to Build 42. You can no longer craft while moving with this one, which is kind of a pretty cool quality of life feature, I think, that I'm kind of glad they added. And I think this taking away that quality of life feature kind of feels bad. Clumsy. I'm going to put clumsy in. I might even go up to excellent. I might change this later, okay? But right now we're going to stick with excellent. +2, and all it does is the exact same as Build 41. It makes your footsteps about 20% louder. It gives you like a 25% trip chance, but I do think the tripping mechanic has changed in Build 42. I don't seem to trip nearly as often when going over fences, so I do think they adjusted this a little bit and made it a little less punishing. Now, audio stealth is a thing in Zomboid. Where visual stealth is not, audio stealth is still a thing in Zomboid. So it is something you can consider as if you really want to have that audio stealth. That's kind of a you decision. I don't think stealth is that valuable. Cowardly. I think cowardly is absolutely fantastic. I don't like panic. I've said this before, that I do think panic is a detriment to your character, but I don't think cowardly is really that big of a deal. And now let's start discussing some of the multiplayer aspects, because Build 42 speedrunning isn't really a thing right now, right? But multiplayer 100% is. All thumbs is even worse in multiplayer. Sunday Driver, all even worse in multiplayer. Cowardly is significantly better in multiplayer. We're actually going to put it down into good. I'm not going to put it in excellent. The panic is kind of annoying, but in multiplayer, your character's panic is based on the days that the server has existed, not your character's individual life. So if a server's been running for many weeks, your character will not get nearly as panicked. So while we're going to move on to a couple, I'm going to go get a few of these easy ones out of the way. I'm not going to necessarily go in order. Let's put motion sickness down in never. And I want to actually discuss this because this is one of the newest traits. A lot of the other Build 42 tier lists do not have motion sickness at all because it's a very new trait. Let's talk about it because this is a nasty trait. Basically what happens is you get motion sickness in a moving vehicle. Now what this actually means is if you drive for about 30 seconds IRL, your character is going to go all the way to sick. Your health is going to start plummeting. And if you happen to go into a room with 2 or 3 zombies, the corpse sickness can instantly kill you. This will kill your character. Your character can just randomly die inside a car if you have motion sensitive. Let's say you got scratched by a zombie. Your health is around 60%. Motion sensitive will kill you. Let's say you're carrying really heavy stuff. Well, that's going to drop you to 75% health. Motion sickness is going to drop you down even more. I'm mixing up sensitive and sickness. That's fine. Same thing, right? This is a really dangerous trait, and I literally recommend never, ever touching this trait, at least until it is adjusted a little bit, because this is pretty bad, okay? Fast metabolism. Okay, I'm going to put this that's the first one in niche, okay? Because in single player, this is not a good trait, okay? Clearly, this is -1 fitness. This is never going to be good, but it does have a niche benefit where in multiplayer, it's actually pretty easy to end up gaining a lot of weight. And this can actually be nice because you're not going to have to manage your calories as much. Since in multiplayer, a lot of the food is going to be rotten, right? A lot of the low-calorie foods. So you're not going to be able to maintain your weight as easily as you do in single player, especially since you can't just speed up time and starve yourself over and over again, right? Another thing is that multiplayer right now has a exploit that I've been using a lot, where when your fitness and strength XP is infinite. So if you go to do your exercise, right? Your character finally stands up, they're exhausted, requested, you just leave it alone. Don't move, don't touch anything. I mean, you can open your skills and look, but you're going to notice your fitness and strength XP never stop going up. And I've gone from level 0 to 5 in maybe 45, 50 minutes in a pretty boosted XP server with just this bug. So not bad. Definitely decent for multiplayer if you have trouble with your weight. The -1 fitness is pretty bad though. Short-sighted. Oh, it's bad, y'all. It's bad. It's really, really, really bad. The only reason I don't put it in awful is because there is a way to counteract the situation. Short-sighted does the same thing it did in build 41, but the big difference now is that short-sighted is going to blur your vision. Your actual monitor will look blurred compared to not having short-sighted. And the only solution to this is to find prescription glasses. Not just any glasses, prescription glasses, which can be a little rare. Now, the reason it goes in bad and not awful, because it is awful. Like, it actually gives me motion sickness when I look at it. I'm not even joking. I literally get headaches when I have short-sighted, okay? I get actual headaches. So it's gonna go in bad just because if you do wear the glasses, you can fix this problem, right? Slow metabolism. Again, I kind of want to put this in niche because they're both gonna... Slow metabolism is a little bit worse than fast metabolism because you do lose some running speed and some endurance, right? So not the best thing you're gonna want to see. So I would say it's a little bit worse because of one thing. It's actually easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight. The reason slow metabolism is a little bit worse than fast metabolism is that it's much easier, in my opinion, to gain weight than to lose weight. So you can very easily get rid of the low weight trait, where getting rid of the high weight trait can take significantly longer. That's kind of an interesting thing you need to think about. But both are niche because if you really need those 2 points, well, I mean, one fitness isn't the end of the world, right? It does have its own place. Slow reader, I would say a never take. I'm gonna say it's a never take. I'll be a little nicer than last time, okay? I'll be a little nicer. I'll put it in awful, okay? Also, shout out to the guy who made this tier list. This thing is like one of the best I've ever seen on this website. This is incredible. I'll throw the link in the description. This is absolutely fantastic. I'll be using it for my positive traits video as well. So let's go back to slow reader. I don't like my IRL time being wasted, and I will say that this is actually even worse in build 42 for one reason. We have a lot more skills now, like a lot more skills. So we actually need to read more books, right? And skills are more important. Weapons break more easily. Weapons are harder to get. The loot tables are bigger, which means finding individual items can be tougher. We actually need to craft things, right? So I would say that reading is more important in build 42 than build 41. And we also lost VHS, which is one of the most powerful tools for being able to increase our character's power without reading. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's awful. Get fast reader. You're gonna really appreciate it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Smokers, pretty bad, y'all. It's pretty bad. It might go into awful. That's gonna go into awful, y'all. It's gonna go into awful. I'm sorry. You're gonna find that this is actually is a pretty even tier list. We just haven't gotten to the good traits yet. Smoker was severely nerfed in build 42. Not as nerfed as High Thirst, of course, but severely nerfed compared to build 41. It is only 2 extra points now, and also it takes away your ability to have athletic, which is a pretty important trait to have. In addition to that, you also have a cough that is pretty annoying and probably will never go away. And yeah, it's going to attract zombies constantly. Boom. You have smoker and clumsy. Zombies are going to be running at you from everywhere. Slow healer. I love slow healer. I'm going to say excellent. Not a must-have. Not a must-have because of something. Back in build 41, slow healer was very nerfed. It had some big, serious problems, okay? It was pretty much free points without even thinking about it, right? It is not like that anymore. Now, it actually does slow your healing. So basically imagine let's say a wound heals in X IRL minutes, right? Say 10 minutes, okay? Well, fast healer would heal in 5 minutes, where slow healer would heal in 20 minutes, right? So slow healer is not as good anymore, but again, I have always said, just don't get injured and you won't have these problems, right? Weak stomach, again, is finally a must-have. Our first must-have of the tier list, and build 41, it was also S tier. It actually feels like this is better in build 42. In build 41, even a little bit of burnt or rotten food would kill you. It seems like they updated the poison system because I've been able to eat like a quarter of rotting things and I have not died. I'm not saying test this or trust this. Like I did die. Like if I ate too much, I could die, right? Or ate too often. But my character would get sick and then just recover from the sickness. So even with weak stomach, so pretty good. Agoraphobic, claustrophobic. I'm gonna put both of these automatically in niche, and I think that's a very reasonable thing. I'm gonna put a claustrophobic is slightly better. I'm honestly gonna put these above both of these, right? Because both of these have a common solution. You might even go okay with. I'm gonna go okay actually. I know that sounds a little crazy, but they actually do have a solution, right? That the other ones don't have. You gaining weight, losing weight takes time. But claustrophobic and agoraphobic, you can just take beta blockers, or you can still use the old exploit from build 41. They never fixed it, by the way. I've been using this exploit for years, and I want to share it with you today. You only need about 30 milliliters of beer, and you will reduce your panic enough to sleep anywhere. right? Anywhere. One beer can has about 330 milliliters of beer, right? That is 11 days of sleep for your character on one beer can. Well, do you know how much alcohol is in Project Zomboid? A lot. Like a lot. You want to survive a month? Grab 3 beers. I mean, 3 beers, that's an hour for me. Every night, I need like 8 to go to sleep. But I mean, that's a me problem, right? Project Zomboid characters are the same. We just chug half a bottle of wine and then boom, pass out. You're gonna have a great night's sleep. Zomboid, it works the same way. Conspicuous must have. Visual stealth in Zomboid has been broken for a very, very long time, and it has never been fixed, and Build 42 is just as broken. Zombies will constantly try to see you, and they check over 100 times, like 100 times a second, I would say, roughly. I do not know the exact number, but I know it's an insane amount of times. And pretty much visual stealth does not work whatsoever in Project Zomboid. Zombies are constantly looking for you, and they will see you. Don't even try. So conspicuous, 3 points. Hard of hearing. In the past, I have called it amazing. I have called it a god trait, and I have loved it. And to this day, I still kind of stand by it. But it's going to have to go down into good now. In the past, hard of hearing was S tier for me. But now I'm going to have to drop it down to only good. And the reason for that is, to be honest, I think it's gotten significantly worse. In the past, hard of hearing was used by speedrunners because the vision cone behind us would get smaller, therefore we're able to speed up time more. But now the vision code between eagle-eyed, deaf, and hard of hearing, and no change at all, no traits, right, is exactly the same. Hard of hearing, though, has a much bigger problem than it did in Build 41. It actually significantly lowers your ability to hear. Like, if you don't have your volume up high in Zomboid, you will not hear house alarms sometimes. Like, I play Zomboid with very, very low volume because I don't like the music like that much. It kind of just gets annoying after a couple hours of streaming, right? So hard of hearing is actually really bad. Sometimes I don't hear alarms, and I never hear zombies behind me. So be very careful with hard of hearing. I think it's still good, but be very careful. Hearty appetite. 4 points. It's pretty excellent, y'all. It's not that hard to eat. It's not that hard to eat. And you also got to remember that your character can just starve for a little while. It's not going to hurt him. Just let him starve. It's not going to hurt him. It'll take like 3 days to even start taking damage, right? So you can actually ignore the need to eat more. Now, you have to be careful. Like, this is better if you're staying at the base, because being hungry will lower your melee damage, which is something and your carrying capacity, right? These are all things you need to consider, okay? It's still really good, though. I would recommend just carrying around some berries. Like, berries are a fantastic choice. Or if you don't have a lot of reliable foraging, just grab a bunch of like canned tomatoes, canned corn, canned peas. They're super low calorie. Just like eat half at a time. They're trying to keep your calories low, okay? And that'll take care of most of your problems. Prone to illness is another must-have. All prone to illness does is make you get colds a little easier and makes you become a zombie faster. Well, again, who cares if you become a zombie one day faster? You're still a zombie. You're still dead. Who cares if you get a cold? Just don't get a cold. Don't go outside in the rain and get soaked. These are very solvable things. This negative trait doesn't even really change the way you play your game, right? So that's why I think it's really good. Reluctant fighter, also known in the past as pacifist. I am going to put this in a niche one, because if I'm not mistaken, it still works the exact same way as it does in Build 41, where you still get gun XP, but you don't get weapon XP. So this is a very niche trait where I actually think guns are much better in Build 42 than they were in Build 41, especially with the new 13.1 update that really fixed a lot of problems with guns. So now I actually think guns are kind of the way you should play your character. Like, a gun build is really strong. So if you want to do a gun build, or you want to do like multiplayer where you might die, don't have time to get a lot of melee skills, well, Reluctant Fighter becomes a pretty good skill. And so I think that's something to definitely to check out. Definitely check it out. I think it has some potential and some niche uses, especially in multiplayer. There we go. So let's move on to this one, which is going to be Sleepyhead. I'm probably going to put it in bad, y'all. You know I don't like sleep. I don't like if you get tired, your ability to recover endurance goes down. And endurance is what's going to keep you from becoming exhausted. If you become exhausted, you're going to move slower. If you become tired, your vision radius gets smaller. You understand where we're going here? Small vision radius, basically small carrying capacity, or small vision radius, inability to recover endurance. This is death. This is the death spiral, right? You've seen it happen a million times. How many times in Zomboid do you not die in one of the two ways? Number one, you just made a split-second mistake and died. And like, it was just like, oh, you just got bit from behind and there's nothing you could do. It was over before you knew it, right? Or two, you got so exhausted, zombies just ran you down. those are the two main ways we go out, right? And I really feel like you need to be very careful with sleep because of that. So be careful with sleepyhead, okay? Fear of blood. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this in awful. I did experiment with this. In the past, I was more willing to take this, but I feel like fear of blood has just gotten a little bit stronger, right? I feel like the effect of fear of blood is so intense now. Before, my characters would take over a day to start getting really stressed out, right? Now I'm killing like 3 or 4 zombies and I'm starting to get stressed like immediately, right? I think fear of blood got really bad, and it is 5 points, but stress is like reducing your melee damage by a lot lately, much more than build 41 in my opinion. Like, I think the tooltip actually says the same, but I don't think the code was working, because I see now when I'm stressed, my damage goes down a lot. And also, we have so many other things modifying our melee damage that another thing modifying it, I think, is kind of it's doing some kind of like multiplicative. It's doing some kind of multiplicative thing where it's adding in extra reduction in damage. So like, say your damage is reduced 50%, well, this is going to make it reduce like 70%, right? Because you automatically have like the 30% from stress. So it's like kind of the way like books and fast learner work together, right? They make each other, everything gets better because you have both. The opposite for this: muscle strain, weapon condition, weapon damage, sharpening, fear of blood, all of these things, your endurance, right? There's too many things pushing together. We need to really be careful about adding in too much stress on top of this. Now let's go ahead and take care of basically 1, 2, 3, and 4, all 5 at the same time. So we're going to go through all of the fitness and strength ones very quickly because they're very similar. Short of breath, faster endurance loss. Okay, this is obviously the best of the bad. You know, I'm super against anything reducing strength and fitness. So there is no niche for this in my opinion. There is no niche, okay? So they're going to go here. And basically, it's just going to go down in a scale, and it's a pretty logical scale. Boom. So if you go here, now you got out of shape. Out of shape is slightly better. Short of breath is a little bit better than out of shape here. So they go above each other. Then we go down and we grab ourselves, what is that? Unfit. Unfit is the worst one. Plus 10, minus 4 fitness. That is insane. Your character is going to start with no fitness at all. I'm not going to put it in never because it does have a place. Because you can play with really bad fitness. People do it all the time, right? How many of you have done 0 to hero, right? These can be played around by being very intelligent with how you play Zomboid. And here's a trick. Strength and fitness have nothing to do with how good the pew pew is. And if you can just use guns, then your problem solved. And with build 42 guns being good at low levels, I'm starting to see a pattern here where these actually have some kind of play. Notice this one is in niche now. Weak. This actually, I feel like, is not... I'm going to put this one, I'm not even going to put this one in niche. I think it's actually worse because it's the carrying capacity. Everything is so much heavier in build 42 that I really feel like when you lose that carrying capacity, everything starts going downhill so fast. So we're actually going to set it up like this. And I think that is where we're going to leave strength and fitness. There's not much to say about this. With muscle strain, we already have so many negative combat modifiers on us that we can't afford to also have low fitness and strength. Plus, zombies are a lot tougher now. You realize that, right? Zombies are way tougher and we get tired way quicker. So I think it's really important to have that high strength and high fitness, just as important in build 41, maybe even a little more so. So we'll see. Disorganized, I always call a must have because disorganized has no real negative, no downside in my opinion. Yes, I was wrong in my previous tier list about it not affecting backpacks and stuff. It does affect them, okay? But I don't feel like you need that much storage, right? And if you're worried about storage like capacity, right? Just put everything on the floor. Just put everything on the floor. The floor has 50 capacity. That doesn't change with a disorganized. The floor doesn't change, right? If you're talking multiplayer, well, the trick I always did in multiplayer is I have two tricks. Number one, I put everything on the floor and my friend gets organized and organizes my loot for me. That's one thing. You know, a man such as me, I don't organize my own loot. Number two, I create an alt account called the loot. I'll call it it's Bringer's loot guy, right? The loot meal. And literally, he's a character that sits in my house with organized, and all he does is store my loot for me. I don't see the alts as cheating because server owners, they can like set a number of alts you're allowed, right? They choose how many alts every player can have on their server when they set the server up. So if they set like, oh, you can have 10 alts, well, that's the server owner saying the rule, right? So there's nothing wrong with using alts to solve some of these problems. I use them all the time. And alts are very useful for dealing with the organized, unorganized problems. Slow loss of tiredness while sleeping. I feel like this is worse than restless sleeper, right? Or sleepyhead. This is worse than sleepyhead. Restless sleeper is worse than sleepyhead because sleepyhead, you just need to sleep more often. This is like, you just don't get good sleep and you can't really fix that problem except sleeping again, which wastes multiple hours every day. Slow learning. Learner is a never take. Never, 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 never. Skills are so important in Build 42. We don't have the VHS anymore. We don't have a lot of the old tricks for power leveling skills. Like welding, you can't disassemble anymore. Carpentry, you can't disassemble anymore. Getting our skill levels up fast is incredibly important. So slow learner must go in the garbage, in the toilet. It is unplayable. Absolutely horrible. Illiterate. I'm going to put it in niche. In the past, I have put illiterate very high up, and I stand by that. I actually like illiterate. And actually, Build 42 has done a few things to make illiterate better, like letting you use generators at level 3, right? That's a great change. And if you take inventive, you can use generators at level 2. It's a fantastic change. But other skill books have become much, much, much more important with just the way the game has changed and how you pretty much have to be able to craft now to survive long term in Project Zomboid Build 42. So I don't value illiterate as much as I used to. I put it in niche because in multiplayer, there actually are benefits to having illiterate. Like again, like I said, sometimes you just have multiple alts on a multiplayer server, right? And you can have one alt that's illiterate whose only job is to fight, and one alt who's not illiterate who can actually read all the books and do all the skilling, right? I love using alts in multiplayer. I do it all the time, and I think it's actually a really fun way to play the game. You get to play a lot of different builds at the same time. That's a lot of these niche ones where they do have uses, but you need to be clever about how you use them in multiplayer. Thin skinned, I'm putting up here, but I'm actually putting it just above that. I'm gonna do it like that because I actually think disorganized does have downsides, right? It can make your character a little more overweight, and it is a bit of an annoyance, right? It's a waste of your IRL time. So I will say it's probably the worst of the must-have. So if you see must-have right now, we have basically 25 points, and then the others you can play around with. Because def, I know this sounds crazy. I know this sounds insane. Putting def above hard of hearing now. I'm actually putting def in excellent because it actually doesn't really do anything. Hard of hearing pretty much already makes you deaf now. Hard of hearing is so overtuned that when I play with it, I literally might as well be playing with deaf. And at least if I'm playing with deaf, I'm not expecting to hear zombies, right? So I'm always turning around and watching my back. And then I can just listen to music or something, right? Honestly, I've chosen deaf in multiplayer so that I can watch YouTube videos while I do slow stuff in multiplayer, okay? So deaf has a place. Deaf definitely has a place. I mean, it's a little silly to put it in excellent, but I stand by it. I stand by it, okay? But anyways, I think that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed the negative traits tier list. I did negative traits first because it's a lot shorter. Positive traits are going to take a lot more research and a lot more testing before I'm confident really ranking them. The only thing I'll say is these must-haves are very strong. We need strength in Build 42. So really consider anything up here you can definitely take without any major problems. Anyways, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. We're really trying to grow the YouTube this year. Thank you very much. Bring her out.